Welcome back to another video, and today we will be going through some of the new makeup announcements and releases that have been made. So welcome back. I have been a bit of on a filming break, so you probably noticed that on previous week there were no new videos. I did make a few shorts or Instagram reels, so there's been a little bit of gap in making long-term videos, but we're back in the sort of normal program, and I think this week there will actually be 3 videos because I did have some time to film. But anyway, so first we will begin the week with the new makeup announcements, and there have been like quite few again. And I'd say there have been a lot of like indie announcements have been made, but also some also mainstream brands have been announcing new products. But let's just dig out my phone and start going through the newest releases, and let's go to Instagram and see what I have saved to my folder. So first, a couple of releases that were already announced when I was sort of editing or making my last makeup news video, but these I think fell under the radar. But first one, which was I think quite interesting, was by Guerlain. So they have announced new, I believe these are their Terracotta line powder blushes. So I think Terracotta bronzer is like one of Guerlain's like most sold products. So now they have come out with blushes. I don't actually know that have they had blushes in this line previously. I'm looking at Angel Naked One's sort of image of these, and so far it seems like there are 6 shades, so I'm not so sure are these the shades that have been previewed on the marketing materials, or will there actually be more. Regarding the shades that have been announced, I mean there are actually quite a few like deeper shades, and then there are like few lighter ones. I think for me these shades, there aren't like anything like super ordinary, like super extraordinary about these. Like I do think that there are the few like more lilac shades that are a bit more like, I'd say different, especially considering that what we're used to seeing from higher end brands. But other than those, quite basic shades, and because it's Guerlain, I assume these are gonna be like very expensive. But these will probably start trickling. If these aren't available yet, they will most likely start coming out to retailers quite soon, because it is already quite some time when these were like sneak peeked. Another announcement that I sort of forgot from my last makeup news videos was this one. So Chanel's spring collection has been released, and if you are familiar with my channel, I did sort of have my Chanel kick at the end of last year, and I did end up buying quite many products from the brand. But regarding the spring release, there's a blush, there's a highlighter, there are 2 quads, and then there is some type of, I think that's a stick highlighter, some nail polishes, and lipsticks. You probably know from my previous videos that usually what has appealed on with Chanel products has been their cheek products, and I am looking at the highlighter and the blush. The blush shade, I think it's a bit too like reddish orangey leaning for my taste, so that's a skip. The highlighter looks quite basic, sort of whitish highlighter. Actually, I think this might be quite similar than the sort of highlighter that they had in their holiday collection, except this only has like because the the holiday highlighter sort of had 2 sides that you could mix together or use separately, but the other side was also this quite plain white. And yeah, also the quads, not something I'm interested in. I did like the sort of Christmas quint that they came out with, but the quads, the color stories, I mean there is a nice pop of blue on the other one, and then there's the sort of orangey pink toned one. But yeah, I think this is going to be a skip for me. Bit surprised actually. I think this color story, like these are quite, I'd say, more closer to primary colors, so I would have expected something like this maybe on the summertime, but this is apparently their spring collection, so interested to see then what the summer collection will look like. I think for spring I was like expecting more pastels, because for example I think Dior's like the sort of mainline spring collection was quite sort of pastel, pinkish, purplish, orangey, like peach leaning, so yeah. But anyway, I think those were sort of the higher end releases that I sort of missed on my last video, but I didn't want to like discuss in the beginning of this one. But all the Guerlain blushes and the Chanel like spring launch, those are both skips for me. Next, Benefit, and Benefit is doing, I think, what they have been doing quite a lot, so they are repackaging their existing sort of cheek products. So they have released 2 cheek duos, one that has the Shelly blush, and I think the highlighter, if it's not Cookie, I'm quite surprised then what other shade they will be putting in there. I'm actually going to see... I'm trying to look at the description. Okay, so they aren't mentioning which highlighter is in the sort of other compact, but the blush Shelly is definitely something that they have as individual. And then they have the other compact, which has the Willow blush, which again is an existing blush on their range. And then I think the Starlight is the sort of, I'm not sure is this like a bronzer or a highlighter shade, but it looks like a bronzer shade. So actually I'm thinking now that it's the bronzer shade maybe, because I assumed it would be Huda because it's always Willow with Benefit, but apparently the sort of bronzer shade on the other compact does have a different name than Huda, so it could be a different shade, but not interested in either of these. I think Benefit is for a while have been quite stuck in the fact that they, like I said, they just seem to re-release their sort of existing blush and other cheek products in new formats, and I think like the most exciting thing that the brand has come out with is that some of their like newer mascaras they have been releasing, but yeah, both of these are going to be a skip from me because these don't look like anything new on the Benefit line. So let's go through some indie. So first indie brand of the day is from I believe this is a French indie brand if I'm not mistaken. So this is Micka Beauty, and they have released their One Last Wish palette, and this is essentially a palette full of special shades, and I have already discussed this quite extensively, so I have been now moving towards with indie brands and with brands in general that I want like more cohesive palettes because I have enough of like individual palette with shimmery special shades. I think this might be, I'm not sure is this already like available now or will it be soon. However, I assume because this is an indie brand, this will be most likely a pre-order product or something that you will have to order beforehand, and it might take some time before they actually ship out the products. The individual shimmers, I think it's actually a bit like the shimmers like look very punchy and there are quite impactful shifts. I'm looking at the like sort of short videos that swatch videos that are like attached to the post where the full palette is shown, but no, I think this could have been even for an all shimmer palette curated a bit better, because like we have like red and golden tones, but then we have like blues and greens in this one, so it's not for like even for an all shimmer palette. I feel this is not like too it's not like too cohesive. If you have tried this brand, I know Micka Beauty, they have released, or Micka Beauty Shop I think is the Instagram handle, I think they have released like few also like matte and shimmer combined palettes like previously, but I don't think they are that known of any brand. So if you have tried them, then please let us know how was did you like the quality, how was the shipping process and all that. But if you're especially inside the European Union, then this could be a good way to try special shades, because then you don't have to order them from all the way from US, and you don't have to pay any additional like importing related cost. But this is a pause for me. Next thing, which I was quite surprised but about that this already came out. So Glaminatrix Cosmetics was teasing that they will release liquid blushes this year, but I assumed this would be something that would be like take longer. But actually, like these have been now, I think I have seen quite many especially Australian influencers, because Glaminatrix is an Australian-based brand. So quite many Australian influencers have actually already gotten these, and there are quite a lot of, I think, swatches and also like tutorials already available on YouTube. And I'm looking at the liquid blushes. I do think the shade range is quite okay. They are quite, I'd say, safe shades. There's like one pinkish, pink leaning reddish one, then there are two sort of muted neutral ones, then there's a more brownish one, and then there's one like muted orange one. So I'm going to see, as I said when these were first like sneak peek, that I'm gonna wait that if these become available at Monolith Shop, and if the price isn't like horrendous compared to like other liquid blushes from other brands that are more accessible for me, then I might be tempted to try one, but I'm not in a hurry to buy these like that I would want to order them from all the way from Australia. But if you live in Australia, then this could be a very good like way to try and liquid blush from an indie brand, because then this will be like very easily accessible for you. But for now it's a skip. But if these come to Monolith Shop, then I might try one shade. I should have just put this on the like a previous clip that I filmed, because this is continue with the indie releases. So Bunny Cosmetics came out with something a bit different. So they came out with a mascara, and I don't think that many indie brands have generally like. I think mascara is like one of the like that. I think itself is a product that mainly like mainstream brands like do, because I think mascara is, I think it's a product that you really need to have quite a lot of like accessibility for it to be like for many people to get. And I don't know in terms that is it actually something that exciting, because indie brands usually like how they make their money is that they release these really standout products that people really want to like get excited about and they see on social media. And I can understand that mascara isn't usually a thing that will get you a lot of hype, but I will credit Bunny for doing something different. So apparently they just wanted to, like, the idea with this one was that they just wanted to make a good mascara. So we do know that with the mascara commercials there are a lot of usually adjectives to use, that how they sort of make your lashes look like false lashes, which by the way is always a lie. Never believe that no mascara, no matter how good it is, will make your lashes look like you're wearing false lashes. And they always claim that the mascara will last 24 hours and all these other ridiculous things that aren't true. But this one, the mascara cost $13 US. So this is if you buy it directly from Bunny's website. Again, this is not something that I would order directly all the way from US. I would wait that if this becomes available at Monolith Shop, which is in Bunny's stockist here in Europe. But I think the price is actually quite decent. It is on the, I'd say, lower end of drugstore, like in the drugstore level, so it isn't like horrendously expensive. And yeah, I think I'm trying to look how the wand size is. So the wand is sort of an hourglass wand. So yeah, I think in terms of the wand, it has like it doesn't have, because I'm not a big fan of plastic bristles, so this has the more sort of traditional bristles. And it actually looks like also in terms of size that it's not something too big for my eye shape. So if this becomes available at Monolith Shop again, and if the price hike when they import it to like Monolith Shop and sell it from there isn't like too horrendous, then again might be something I would be interested to try out. But I'd say like not something again that I'm going to be like going all my like effort to order directly from the brand website. But this is again something that's already available to you, and if you live in US and want to order this from the brand's website directly, then you can do it. And I do believe with Bunny you can use like affiliate codes to get some discount from their products if you order directly from their website. So something from Makeup Revolution. So Makeup Revolution came out with their Y2K collection, and there was quite a lot in this. I do think that the Revolution, they have calmed down a little bit in terms of how many items they put per like a release, and I have actually been liking their like individual like announcements. So for example, when they had their foundation launch a couple of weeks ago, or when they sort of had their new bullet lipsticks launching, I think those launched last year. So I have been liking that they have been like they aren't like always now coming out with big collections, which they used to do. But regarding the Y2K collection, there are like 3 eyeshadow palettes. One which looks like kids makeup because it's in a like okay, as someone who was born in 90s and got their first phones in the early 2000s, I get it that the sort of shell-shaped phone has a lot of nostalgia value. Like, I remember how excited it was that I got this sort of shell-shaped compact phone when I was like in my, I think I was already a preteen. So I get it, but I still don't want my makeup to look like an old shell phone. But yeah, so the makeup palettes like these are very shimmer heavy, which again is like sort of inspired by the Y2K theme, so I get it. There was also pink powder, which has been another very popular product, but the pink powder, at least from quite many reviews that I saw from UK YouTubers that I saw, it looked quite dark. So for example, with my skin tones, I'm a bit unsure that would this already be like too dark on me. There are also quite a lot of actual lip products that they came out with, and I think there might be even a liquid blush included. And then there's this sort of bubble type of primer, but unfortunately nothing in this well. I think it's very cute. The eyeshadow quality with Revolution, well, I think their other products have been improving quite a lot. I still feel that the eyeshadow palettes I have tried from them, the few that I have tried in a couple of last years, the eyeshadow quality hasn't been developing as their other products have been, so that is the reason why I'm not exactly, I don't think there's really like anything that I'm particularly interested in about this collection, but if you're interested in this, then their collection is already out available on their website. So another collection that perhaps was meant to appeal to our nostalgia, though maybe from a more recent one, so MUA Cosmetics has re-released their neutral brown stack again, and my first question was that did any of us want the melt stacks back? Because I do know those were a thing at, I think, was it in 2016 or 17, time before the pandemic, when the makeup YouTube was it was a bit different kind of place, and I know melt was very hyped, but I never got even when the stacks were like popular amongst like the main sort of mainstream makeup YouTubers, I never got the hype with the stacks because I think I have always been the sort of girl who likes palettes. I like my eyeshadows to be in a palette and not in stacks or pots or in any other format. So, but yeah, this is a real sort of re-release, and this is now available if this was something that you missed out originally, or you want to get this. But and the price isn't bad. It's like $30 for, let's see how many shades. There are 5 shades if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. I'm a bit having a lot of question marks that was this really so popular that they wanted to bring this back, but it is now I think available at least in the Melt's website and might be even in some of their like US retailers. Then let's go through actually some other mainstream announcements. So KVD Beauty has actually announced 2 kind of new products. So they have released Good Apple Blush Balm and Bronze Duos, and I actually am kind of excited about this. The only issue is that KVD Beauty, we have actually now quite many retailers that do retail KVD Beauty here, and they even have stands in stores so we can swatch the products before buying them. But unfortunately KVD Beauty is one of those brands that they sort of release stuff first in the like very big markets, so in this case for example in North America markets, and then the stuff starts trickling to other regions, and sometimes it takes a lot of time. Like I don't mean like a couple of months. There was like I think with the for example their holiday collection that was I think became available already on, it was already available in North America on November, or at least in the beginning of December. However, it only came to Europe or at least to our retailers like after like the New Year. So it was somewhere like, it was like closer I think to end of January when the stuff became available here. So with KVD, like I do actually like the idea of the blushes. The bronzer shades aren't necessary. Now I'm looking at them, I don't think the undertones would suit me, but some of the blush products I am kinda interested in and would be interested in store, but I don't know how long it's gonna take for these to become available, at least in our region. But I do know that for example in the US when are these gonna be available? 18th of February, so when am I filming this? So they are actually now available on the day that I'm filming this, at least I think on the US market. So I think US Sephora might be the first to get this, so check them out if you're interested in them, and for the rest of us we shall see when this will become available. But this is a product, like I said, in terms of the blushes, something that I could be interested in. Second release that I know did get a lot of attention on social media was that R.e.m.beauty released their powder blushes and bronzers, And I think R.e.m.beauty, especially what people like about them is that I think their packaging is quite aesthetically pleasing. I haven't there are a few places that I could order R.e.m.beauty online, but it's one of those brands that's not available at our local retailers. But it is still a brand that I could technically get. But regarding the products, like I'm looking at the blushes. Let's see. Let's see about the blushes. So there seems to be altogether, how many shades do we have? 8 shades. There are actually a few that I am eyeing and looking at that those would be quite cute. I think the sort of O2 Skinny Dipped shade and the Rose on Mars shade would be quite something that I would be interested in to try. Maybe if I'm visiting a Sephora during summertime in abroad, then these could be actually something I could check on store, because these are 20 USD each, so in euros it's gonna be either 20 euros or over 20 euros or under, depending how the conversion rate goes. But yeah, at least the blushes are looking kind of nice. The bronzer shades are also, I think, not bad. There are 6 bronzer shades, I think, for R.e.m.beauty that again is owned, I think, by an are they a Kendo brand or owned by some other incubator, but I think they could have maybe done more than 6 shades, but there is, I think, quite a decent gradient. Powder bronzer is not my favorite product. I have now noticed that I do actually gravitate towards more like creams in terms of bronzer and contouring, but I do think the blush shades are actually something that if I would be visiting abroad a Sephora, then I might and if those would be available in store, then I might actually grab shade or two. But again, I'm actually gonna check that when are these gonna be available, at least in the US. There, yeah, so there isn't in the post, there isn't the so these have been available actually on R.e.m.beauty's website as an early access, so I assume that means that they will then soon become available also at their retailers, but at least in there, if you are ordering from their website, you can already order both the bronzer and the blush. Okay, let's continue with the indie. So this is a new indie brand that for me that I'm looking at. So there is the Davini Beauty has released the Ascensión palette, and this has been one of those palettes that I've been like really eyeing a lot of the swatches and thinking that is this something that I would be technically interested in or not. So the one thing that is something that is sort of bringing minus points in my point of view is that there's a glitter shade in this one, so that is automatically something that I would not be too excited to use because I don't want my eyes to get infected or damaged. But other than that, there are 9 mattes, there are 5 special shimmers, and yeah. So I think Monolith Shop was having a poll that would this be something that we would be, like their consumers here in Europe would be interested in, that should they stock this. I'm kind of like, because there's some, like, for me, I think what's throwing me off a little bit is that we have this sort of like a very sort of reddish brown and pink side, and even I think the lilac would go, but then we have these pops of blues, and then there's the mustard yellow, and then this sort of very like muted orange shade, and those are kind of sort of, I think, throwing me off in terms that would this be a palette that I would like if we forget the one glitter shade, which I think is obviously the middle shade called Contact in the middle, but yeah. I think I would have to watch reviews of this particular palette. So this is gonna be this is already also like released at least on the brand's website, and it's $65 when it launches. So it's also not, well, I think it's quite decently priced for an indie brand, but you can order this from their website now. I think I will be watching a few reviews and see that how I will feel about the palette and see that what kind of looks people create with this, because I'm like kind of now in the middle. Is this something that I'm interested in? Then another indie release, which is from a brand that I still haven't gotten to the hype of this brand, but I know a lot of other people have. So Fantasy Cosmetica has released their new 9-pan, so the 9-pan format is something that Fantasy Cosmetica is very much known for. And along with this one, I think what is new is that they have also come out with a highlighter palette. And there's also fragrances, but for example, Monolith Shop that stocks the brand here in Europe, they get the powder products, but the fragrances are something that are only exclusively available on their own website. So those are something that I would, for example, and also importing like, because fragrances are categorized as hazmat products in terms of like transport. So ordering hazmat products like from outside of European Union this means like fragrances and nail polishes. It's usually like horrendously expensive because of the security measures they have to take into consideration when transporting them. But the powder products, Monolith Shop actually has announced that both the eyeshadow palette and the highlighter palette will be available on their next launch, and this is all for all the European viewers, 25th of February, so the upcoming next, I'm filming this on the Sunday 18th, so it's gonna be on the next Sunday, they will have their launch, so people go on the website beforehand and check what you will be want to buying and be on the website when the launch happens, because there's gonna be, I think, quite a lot of launches that are gonna sell out. And this will be, a palette will be included them, so the palette is called the Wizard palette, and this isn't going to be a palette that's gonna get me in the bandwagon of the brand, because this is a majority blue palette, and we all know my stance on blue eyeshadow. But I do like actually there's the pop of yellow in this palette, so it is nice that they didn't go all the way through a monochromatic route, but there is some like pops of yellow in here. But yeah, unfortunately this isn't going to be the palette that's gonna get me try Fantasy Cosmetica. This is really a brand, one of those brands that I really want to try out because a lot of people are saying good things. The highlighter palette is also known for me because these are very sort of, I think these could be almost like more of a glowy blush shades, because they are like two very these sort of pink toned ones, and then there's a lilac one. So at least on my skin tone, I think the two pinker shades would be more sort of glowy blushes, and then I would have to see that could I use the lilac one as a highlighter. It might be a bit of 50-50. But yeah, this is already, I think, available on, if you want to order this from their own website, that's already possible. But like I said, if you live in European Union, then check out Monolith's website, because this will be on their 25th February launch, and you will be able to get the highlighter palette or the eyeshadow palette from their website. So more indie. MUA Cosmetics and basket.case.beauty have come out with I think this is a collaboration palette, and this is called the Moonlit Marsh, and this is very, I'd say, I was quite happy to see this, because this is very spring themed one, and even though there's still like snow where I live in, and we're like waiting that when this is gonna end, because the snow came in really early this year, and it hasn't started, like, I think people are getting a bit tired, and we would already also want here the spring would begin, but we will have to wait. But regarding this particular palette, I do like the sort of aesthetic of this palette. Like, I think they have done there's a quite smart combination. Like, we have a bit of like these sort of almost like pastel leaning, more sort of like warmer shades, but it's majorly like a blue-green palette. I don't think this is a brand that's too easily available. I think, at least for me, I haven't actually tried MUA Cosmetics before. And while I do think the color story is quite smart, I think as a whole this isn't like a palette that... the color story isn't for me, because again it is still essentially quite heavily like blue-green leaning, but I do like how they combine the colors, and I do like that this is like very sort of spring-like, and makes you like already like anticipate that all the snow is gonna go away, and we will soon start having spring flowers and all kinds of that stuff. But as a color story, unfortunately, it's a skip for me, and I don't think this would be something that's too easily available for me. So Pastel Rose UK, they have come out with the Rose Delight palette. I think these are one of those like Valentine's releases that are still like have come out in between when I filmed my last video, and now that Valentine's is sort of, a day is sort of already passed, so this is sort of something that came in between that time. I really wish they would have chosen a different background to the sort of like in the inside of the palette. I do like the covers, and I get, because it's a Valentine's inspired one, so they are like roses and pinks, but what the pink background is doing in terms of inside the palette is it's sort of like drowning the shades, and for me, because the pink background is sort of eating away the shades that are included, it's really difficult for me to try to think that what kind of sort of looks I could create with this one. So And I think this shows quite well that how much the background of the palette can affect how you perceive the color story of it. So yeah, with a different background, I think I could maybe like be more excited about this one. I did look at the swatches, like there seems to be some more shiftier shades, and then there are like normal like shimmers, and then there's a matte in here, but for me this is a skip purely because I am having quite like on my like sort of creative eye, because of the background, I just don't like really something is like pushing me away from this palette. But this is a UK indie brand, and I do believe this is already available. It doesn't. Oh yeah, it is already available, and it's $47.99 in USD, which I assume in pounds it's probably a bit cheaper in pounds, because with pounds it's usually so that it's a bit less compared to other currencies. But yeah, available on their website, but it is a skip. It's a skip for me. So, something again that's not perhaps available for me, but I wanted to show this because I think this was very cute. So, MUA has announced new cheek products, and so they have announced sort of like blushes, matte blushes, and then this sort of, I think these are more like highlighters or could be used as a glowy blushes. And I think this is a brand that is for, if you live in US, then this could be available in Ulta, if I'm not mistaken. And MUA I think is one of those more affordable drugstore brands, so this is so these are $8.99 each, so very, very affordable. I think the blush shades themselves are, for example, for me maybe a bit too bright, but I am liking like the highlighter shades a lot. But unfortunately not something I can buy, but if you like the sort of cute design and everything, then these, I think these would be nice to maybe try out. Then let's go to some indie. So this is something that will be also available on Moonlit Shop on the 25th of February. So Dieverune, and I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, this is again new for me, really like indie brand, but Dieverune Cosmetics have announced their new palette. They have actually sneak peeked this palette a lot. Now I'm trying to see how this was named. So yeah, this is the Gloomy Gardens palette, and when I saw the initial like cover art of this palette, I was like thinking that, oh my god, that's so beautiful. It sort of have this sort of like bit of a grungy colored flowers, but it was like very beautiful. I was maybe like thinking that is this more like a fall themed palette, because the sort of colors that were chosen for the front cover of the flowers, they were maybe a bit on the fall-esque side, but still very, very beautiful when I initially saw the sneak peeks of the cover. And now I'm looking at the insides of this, and this is something that I'm now on 50-50 if I'm going to get this on the Moonlit launch. So I did check on Moonlit Shop's website, and the price is quite close to their US website price. So if you order this from their website, it's $66. And I did check on the Moonlit Shop, I think it's 69 euros or something, so it's not like horrendously more expensive if you order it from there. And it is a bit matte heavy, so I have said this previously that I like a 50-50 split in terms of mattes and shimmers, and this is a matte heavy. And yeah, I am a bit on the fence about this, because like I said, for me this color story, the insides of the palette and the outsides of it, they do remind me maybe a bit more about like fall makeup. But other than that, there is something very appealing about the color story of this, which is strange because it has, for example, this very bright orange and blue in it, but still. I believe all the shimmer shades, I already watched a couple of YouTubers who got this on PR beforehand. The shimmer shades, they do look nice, and I do believe all the shimmers do have some kind of shift to them. I'm gonna have to now see and make my decisions before next weekend. Will I be getting this? Because it wouldn't be like horribly expensive, and it would be nice to try something new. And I do, like as I said, there is something appealing in this to me, but I'm just not sure is this the season for this palette. But yeah, like I said, if you want to order this from their own website, it's available now. And there are if you want to watch reviews, there are a couple of YouTubers that have gotten in this PR, so you are able to see how this works on the eyes. before buying this one. But yeah, I'd still say that even if I would not end up buying this, it's still a very good release from the brand, because this certainly, I like this, the cohesion of this color story very much. Then there's some drugstore brands that are available to me easily. So MUA Academic Cosmetics have launched new Hydra-Juice lip balms. So I think these are available on their website and maybe in their UK retailers. I actually did recently visit a mall that they have. There's a store that stocks like MUA. You can like buy them. You can like see the products and everything. And they still didn't have. I didn't see these like on the shelves. And with MUA, it does take some time when they like become available in UK before they make it to like retailers. For example, in my country, I have noticed there's a bit of a time gap there, but I think because these are on the tubes, I'm not a fan of this kind of tube, this sort of tube formed lip balms or lip glosses. They, I think, in one way remind me of the sort of sticky childhood and or like preteen glosses that I used to wear in a like very bad way, that I sort of like product that I'm not too missing about too much. But I do know that for a lot of people, these tube like glosses or balms, they do have a nostalgia element to them, and I know for some these are like convenient to just throw into the bag. But for me, I just don't like the tube format. I'm more of a doe food applicator person when it comes to my glosses or balms, or then if it's like a lip balm, then the one that's on the like stick. But yeah, these are already also available, and these are just, if you buy these in UK, these are only £2 each. So MUA is known for being very affordable. So if you're looking for an affordable lip balm, then and you're in the UK, then these are now available. Next, something that I was a bit thinking that did we want this? So Huda Beauty has released 2 new 9 pans, and these are in their sort of like, apparently these are all cream shades, and I know she tested out cream shades in the 9 pans like last year. There was the one more mauve toned and one more warm toned, and I don't think I heard like those, because those palettes also had like the traditional like normal matte shades, and they had few of the cream shades. And I don't think I heard a single person giving the cream shades like a positive review. I think for a lot of people seemed that they did seem to think that the matte shades were like okay, but a lot of people said that the cream shades, they were like, they creased away no matter what kind of base you were using with them, or if you were not using a base at all with them. I haven't tried this formula from Huda, so I of course can't speak from my like own experience, but I just categorically saw that people didn't like the cream formula. So now I'm a bit curious that if the cream formula got bad reviews, why are we getting like 9 pans now full of these? Maybe if she improved the formula, then this could be good. I'm not running my way to buy these. I have also said like previously that I think the Huda's quality, like it's much more worth to buy her bigger palettes, because I feel that the 9 pans there have been like varying quality, and I, for example, have decluttered all my Huda 9 pans that I used to own, because I just felt the quality of those, it wasn't matching with the other palettes, or even with the Huda's bigger palettes. So for me, these are a skip, and will be interested to see that did she improve the cream formula, because as I said, I don't think the cream formula got that good of reviews when she brought it out last year. Okay, next something that in the release that has gotten a bit of conflicted emotions in me. So Oden's Eye has announced a new collaboration. So this is the second part of their legendary Diversa collection. So this is with 3 influencers that Oden's Eye came out with palettes, I think already a couple of years ago. So these are with the Fancy Face, Judy, and the Annette's Makeup Corner. And the original palettes of this legendary Diversa collection, the original 3 ones, were something that I'm still having like I'm still thinking that why didn't I get those, because those have been like, I don't get a lot of FOMO for makeup products that I usually don't get, because usually then something else comes out and you sort of forget. But I think the original like 3 legendary Diversa palettes are something that I'm still feeling FOMO that though I really should have made better choices, but I think that was one of those Decembers that November, December times that we were getting just so much, and I, of course, like all of us, I had to prioritize what I spent my money on. But that was a little bit about the past of these like influencer palettes. Now about the new ones. So we have the Earthwood palette, the Spring Dragon palette, and the Mighty Monster palette. And then there are actually like 9 lip products. So each of the influencers got to create, aside from the palette, 3 lip products. So there's altogether, like in this release, there are 3 palettes and 9 lip products. And I'm gonna say that the lip products got me much more excited than the palettes. There's actually, the Judy's collection has a matte lip sort of cream that is something else than orange and red, which is usually what Oden's Eye has done. A lot of the lip, especially that because all the other lip products are glosses, and I already saw the gloss swatches, and I think there's a bit of repetition because the glosses, on the other hand, a lot of them are these sort of reddish brownish leaning, which is something that I have critiqued Oden's Eye before from the lip product, that we would like maybe something else than reddish browning leaning. But in the Judy, but nevertheless, because I, for example, loved the Angie's lip gloss quite a lot that she came out with the Halloween collection last autumn, I would be like, could see myself getting one, like Judy's the matte liquid lipstick and then maybe one of the glosses. But unfortunately with the palettes, these aren't doing it for me. Like first of all, the Judy's palette, which is the Spring Dragon palette, this is a pastel palette, and we all know how much I detested the holiday palettes from last year that had like pastel shades, and those were just like one of the worst like pastel shades that I have tried from indie brands for a long time. So that is also automatically why I was, when I saw that one of the palettes was all pastel palettes, I was like that, yeah, I'm skipping that one because the memory of the holiday palettes is still too fresh. Then I watched that the sort of Annette's palette, which is the Mighty Monster. I think this has a bit too many like I would have maybe wished there was something else, because this has like few neutrals and then there are a lot of primary colors, and I'm not a fan of like if there's like only primary colors in the palette. So also as a color story, not something that appeals to me. I think the only palette that I did went like for a couple of like minutes that maybe this one I could get was like the Earthwood palette from the Fancy Face, because I do feel that this actually did have sort of an cohesive color story in terms that we have like the green side and then there's like a purple neutral side to this one. So I think from the palettes, the Mighty Monster one is like the most interesting one, but I think as a whole, like something about the color choices in this palette, it just doesn't, because I felt that with the original 3 palettes that these influencers got to make, those felt very, even they like felt true to the influencers, but they were on their own also kind of like very cohesive palettes in one way. But with this one, I feel that somehow the color choices that have been made for these, they aren't like, there is a bit of lack of cohesion here. But this is a collection that's already available. I haven't checked. I don't think this has sold out, because I do believe that if this would have sold out, Oden's Eye would have made it a post about it. I think that the lip products might be something that individual products from the lip collections might sell out, but because yeah. But altogether, not Oden's Eye best release, which I think it's a bit sad to say, because I do think that, for example, all of these influencers, I have watched their videos on YouTube, they are very talented, but something just about this color story is not appealing to me. But of course, if you found your perfect palette from this, then that's a very good thing, and hopefully everyone, because I do know that the original Legendary Diversa collection was also something that sold out very quickly, and I think they restocked it maybe once, and I know a lot of people still feel that they are just like me, that they wish that they would have brought the original 3 palettes back. So I do hope that this time everyone who wants to support these influencers and do like these palettes, they are able to get these. But for now, this collection as a whole is a skip, aside from maybe few lip products that I might see that if Oden's Eye releases a new palette later on this year and some of the lip products are still available, then I might order a few of those, but I'm not gonna make an order from their website just for the lip products alone. Okay, now I'm seriously thinking that Pat McGrath is just like, the brand is not even trying. So Pat McGrath has done, within I think 1 or 2 weeks timeline, really re-released 2 products and trying to make them look different. So first one was this one. So apparently, aside from the quad and a few lipsticks and highlighter, she came out to Valentine's Day, she also repackaged the Divine Rose too. So before, when you saw this and you saw that it had the blue, yellow, blue, red rose packaging, and then there was the gold packaging of the the palette itself, before you go run out and buy it, please stop, don't do anything. If you have the Divine Rose 2, then this is just the Divine Rose repackaged. Don't buy this again and pay for the only for the fancier packaging. And this is very disappointing, because I think that does the brand really think that we're I assume there are gonna be some people who will buy this regardless. And for example, if you don't have the Divine Rose 2 and you really wanted to get it in a more special packaging, then now's your chance. But please, if you have the palette, don't rebuy it just for the packaging. Another repackaged product was, and this was I was like, what is this? So Pat McGrath and Marc Jacobs Beauty. So Marc Jacobs Beauty is something that the brand closed. I think it was quite close to COVID or after COVID, and I think there's been some talks now that the brand is coming back at some point, but it apparently not in a near future. And I do know that, for example, Marc Jacobs had, for example, their bronzer was very popular. So, but now Pat McGrath came out with a special packaged lipstick with the beauty brand that we are now waiting. Is it going to come back? So that was a bit strange. The packaging is not my style, and again, this must be a red shade that she again has had in her matte lipstick line for quite some time. So I think my general feeling about Pat McGrath releases is that the disappointments continue, and please somebody give the creative directors of the brand a shake, and we want something new, we want something exciting, we don't want repackaged stuff that you're trying to sell us as something new and exciting, which we all know that it isn't. So, Klarity Cosmetics has finally revealed their Deadly Rose palette. So this is a palette that I think, I'm not too sure did I mention this, but this was one of those grungy Valentine's palette, which has been an ongoing theme during this season of Valentine's palette. And I was actually a bit surprised when I saw the insides of this one. So this is actually quite a neutral, a dark neutral palette. There is a pop of green and some red in here, but other than that, this is, I'd say, very sort of neutral leaning palette for something that I was perhaps expecting something else from this. There's only 9 shades in this one, and for me this is a skip because the color story is just not appealing to me. It's a bit too dark, and the few pops of color like the green and red just not something that I'm interested in. It is available at Klarity Cosmetics website now, and it is only $30 US, so because it's a 9-pan, it's not horrendously expensive, and I don't think the shimmers are shifty shimmers or anything like that, but this is an easy skip for me. So another maybe a surprise, Violet Voss has come out with a new palette, and when was the last time the brand came out with anything? Violet Voss was when I was getting sort of into the makeup YouTube, which was around the 2016-17 phase, and the brand then was quite hyped, and it was even one of those indie brands that US brands that used to be available at Beauty Bay, because Beauty Bay back then used to be a place that we would get all the popular US brands. Now it's a bit different, but this was one of those brands that everybody was hyping about. And this is called the Pretty in Paradise, and it's a 6 eyeshadow shades, and then there are 2 cheek products, and it's $43 US. I wouldn't pay $43 for this because this looks cheap. I'm sorry, if you love this brand, then go ahead, but for me, and also the color story itself, there isn't a lot of I think from the 6 eyeshadow shades, there's only 2 mattes and the rest are shimmers, and there isn't particularly a lot of depth with the shades, and I'm not usually a fan of having cheek products and eyeshadows mixed in, but that's a personal preference. But yeah, this is very uninspiring. If you cover out the only green shade, then this is it gets even more dull. So I wouldn't spend the $43 for this, because I think for $43 there isn't enough worth in this, and there isn't a lot of versatility altogether when looking at the color story. So this is again an easy pass for me. So next one was something that did get my attention. So Kiko Milano, first of all, we have a Kiko retailer now, so I can actually now go in store and see the products. I don't have to have my friends, when my friends visit abroad, I don't have to do shopping list for them, or I don't have to see myself that if there's a Kiko store when I'm traveling, that isn't something that I want to put my my traveling budget on. But We have a Kiko store now, however, I don't know will our retailer get like the special edition releases, because so far it seems that the stand is quite extensive, because I was very afraid that we're only gonna get something like a very small selection, but I will give the credit. There is a very big stand in our store, and there's like a lot of like the products were quite well stocked when I was at the launch day at our retailer, and it was like the selection is good. But however, I haven't like so far seen that will we get the special edition releases, and Kiko has now come out with the, is this called the Bloom collection or something like that. First of all, the packaging is like very pretty. Kiko is very good at doing packaging, but this is like I think the best they have done in a while. And just as always, there's a lot. I will be popping out a picture from Beauty DEA, and then I will also pop a picture from their website, because this picture doesn't include the blush wand type of product that they have also released with this one. If going through the products, the face palette is something they have done like 1,000 times over and over again, but I want it because of the packaging, so more blush is coming. The lip glosses and lipsticks look nice, but I think if I would be making choices, then I think the lips altogether might be something that I would skip. Then there's like an individual highlighter, again in a very pretty flower compact. Like I said, this is the best packaging I think the brand has done ever. Then we have two kind of blushes. So there's the wand blushes that you will see in individual picture, and then in the middle of this like collage picture you will see that there's also another type of like a doe food applicator product, and I initially also didn't know what. Because initially when I opened the product information on their website, it wasn't very informative. Then when I checked the product like site downwards, then I saw that, oh, this is also something meant to use like to cheeks. So considering how much liquid blush we're still getting, if this would hypothetically, I was kind of thinking that do I want to spend my makeup budget from this month, and do I want to like make an order from the website, because as I said, I'm unsure will this become available at the local retailer, and I ended up making the choice that I'm not gonna do an order for this collection, but if this would appear magically in our stores, then the temptation might be too hard to resist. But from the two type of blush products, I think because I'm going to be filming my collective makeup review after this, which is a video I've been putting off for quite long, and I think I have so far now have had my fill of these wand type of blushes. So from the blush products, aside from the face palette, I think I would take the blush that's in the sort of doe food applicator in this sort of really small looking packaging. Then we have nail polishes. I don't use nail polishes, so ultimately skip. There are some like funky looking eye pens, which I immediately was like, but no, because you probably have seen that I don't use eyeliner. Then about the eyeshadow palettes, I will give Kiko credit. They actually came out with a palette that is something bit different. So I am talking about obviously about the palette that has a bit of pop of light green and a darker green, and there's even like a violet shade up in the upper corner, and there's actually mint and a pastel pink there. The other sort of like the other palette is a very typical like warm tone pink brownish palette that they have done like a million times over, but as I said, I will give them credit for their other palette. This is kind of unique in their line. But altogether, I'd say this is like one of the best limited edition collections I think I've seen from Kiko, because this doesn't feel like a lot of the other sort of collections have felt that they are just like repackaging or redoing the seasonal collection they did last year, but this actually feels generally that there's like genuinely like newish products, and there's actually like an effort have been made with the packaging. So very beautiful, available at Kiko's website, and I do believe that this is also available that if you have like standalone Kiko stores in your country. But as I said, if you have a stand in a sort of retailer department stores that sells other brands, then I don't know will this become available, but at least on Kiko's own stores and website this is now available. Next, Patrick Ta has released a shade extension, so there's 3 new shades to his blushes and 5 new shades to his glosses. So there's sort of blush duo which has a cream side and a powder side. This was like I think the first cream blush formula that I have ever tried, and it used to be like my favorite blush formulas. However, because called Beauty back then, and this was I think around the pandemic which might have been a contributing factor. So around that time, Cult Beauty, which is the like only like retailer that I can get Patrick Tar easily from, they had a lot of issues of keeping the products in stock. So it used to be that if a Patrick Tar product became available at Cult Beauty, it sold out very fast, and it took almost like over half a year for any restock to happen, even longer with some products. I think it has now gotten a bit better, but still, this has been one of those brands that it's technically available, but what is available and in what time has been then a bit more like a difficult question. Regarding like let's look at the blush shades. There's like a nice new neutral looking shade, then there's sort of very bright pale pink, and then there's sort of orangey one. I'm looking at the orangey one, and this looks quite a lot like the reddish orangey shade that was in one of the like original shades in the line. Then the lip glosses. I haven't tried this formula because, as I said, the brand, there has been some like availability issues, so I never got to try this one. There are like more like neutral brownish and pink shades, but again, this is for me, I think at least for me, I think the hype sort of has maybe a bit gone. This isn't a brand that I have revisited after I initially years ago bought like products from them, and I used those products to sort of use those products until they're expired, but I since haven't felt that I should like buy products again from the brand. But let's see, when are these becoming available? 2 days, so when was this posted? I think 20 hours ago. So yeah, these are gonna be at least available, I think, Patrick Tar's own website, and maybe probably in his like retailers, like for example in the US for quite soon, because it says like 2 days to spring collection launch. So this is gonna be available soon, and if you have been waiting for shade extensions to either of the glosses or for the sort of blush duos, then these will be available soon. And then to a palette that sort of like, I think again came out a bit like surprising. It was a bit of a surprise that this like came out so quickly. So R.e.m.beauty Cosmetics, which has been a very hyped indie brand in the indie community, also very expensive, like one of the more expensive ones, and a brand that I tried, for example, first time this year. I tried the Harvest Moon palette. There is a review video in my channel. And they have now came out with yet another palette. So this is called the Groovy Garden palette. And when I immediately when I saw the cover design of this, I already kind of guessed that I would not be liking the color story of this. So first of all, the cover design, it's a bit too, how should I say, trippy for my taste. So this is obviously, they said that this is a 70s era inspired, and you probably will understand with the reference to the mushrooms and that sort of stuff that what they are meaning by 70s era inspired. And this is also probably going to be their most affordable palette so far. So this is going to be $69, and if you buy this from R.e.m.beauty's website and use affiliate codes, then it's only going to be $62 and $10. But the reason why this is cheaper compared to the other palettes is probably because this is a majority matte palette, so there's only one row of shimmers. I think probably the shimmers are still all gonna be like special shades, but because it's matte, majority of the shades are matte, then this is probably the reason why this is like quite like more inexpensive compared to their previous palette that have sold like around $80–90 mark. But yeah, just as I had seen from the like cover of and now that I've seen the insides, like this is very sort of orangey brownish tones, and these are sort of like tones that I'm not a particular fan of. There are like quite nice pops of like, there's a bit of like muted greens in here, and there are a couple of these sort of berry shades in here, and I do actually like the gradient of the shades, that there are like good gradient from light to mid-tone to like dark matte shades, so I will give them credit, and the shimmers do look nice, but unfortunately the color story, because it's not just, it's a bit too like warm heavy for me, and because I like the like 50-50 split, maybe with a different kind of color story, then maybe this actually could be something that I would still be interested in, even if it does have like, doesn't have as many shimmers as it does mattes. But yeah, this is going to be a skip, but if you are interested in this, then when is this going to be released? Okay, great, the captation doesn't say when this is going to be released. But also, if you like this warmer color story and if you have been like wanting to try this brand, because this is not as expensive as their previous palettes, so maybe this could be, if you have been thinking that oh, the $80–90 it's too much, but now within this affiliate code, if it's only like 62 and 10, and if the shipping isn't like horrendously expensive from their own website, then maybe this could be a good way for some people to, like more people to get into the brand that have thought previously that the brand has been too expensive for them. So that was the last one. Quite a lot of, I'd say, eyeshadow palette releases, and I think maybe in a couple of months we will start seeing more, I think spring themed pastel palettes and so on, which we usually start seeing at this time of the year. Comment down below, was there anything that you're planning to buy, or if I missed out something that you are still interested in, then certainly tell everyone about it. But if you like this video, then press the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get notification from my future videos, then ring the bell button. You can also find me on Instagram with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I hope I will see you again soon. Bye bye!